Shout out to Ricky Gervais for not being afraid of the cancel mob. How's everybody doing? My name is Anthony Brian Logan, and today we're going to talk about Ricky Gervais's new Netflix special called Supernatural. Now, I've not seen the entire special, and if you want to see it, it's on Netflix right now, which is Tuesday, May 24th, 2022. But I have seen some clips, and he's gotten into some trouble because they're quote-unquote anti-trans. Now, I'm not going to waste too much time. Let's get straight into the clips so you can see exactly what everybody's upset about. I won't be able to play the video from these, but you hear the audio. If you want to see the full video, audio, my links will always be in the description box below so you can see it for yourself without my commentary. But let's get straight to the first one. I'll play it, but there's going to be some kind of censoring. Like it'll be like a freeze frame right here rather than the video because it is Netflix and I don't want them to strike me. But this particular piece right here is where he's talking about some things that are quote unquote really inflammatory. After we get done with this, we're going to see something else where he brings it on home and gives it a lot more substance. Let's check it out.
The old-fashioned women. Oh, God. You know, the ones with wombs. Oh. Those f***ing dinosaurs. Oh. No, I love the new women. I know the new women. They're great, aren't they? You know, the new ones we've been seeing lately. The ones with beards and cocks. They're as good as gold. I love them. No, it's the old-fashioned with it. And now the old-fashioned, they go, oh, they want to use our toilets. Why shouldn't they use your toilets? For ladies. They are ladies. Look at their pronouns.
This is hilarious. And pardon me pausing it, but I got to do that because it's Netflix. But that's hilarious. The whole thing about the pronouns is like, so I guess if you call me a certain pronoun, then that means I'm that thing. Is that kind of how it works? Okay, we're going to roll with it.
What about this person isn't a lady? Well, his penis. Her penis, you bigot. What if he rapes me? What if she rapes you?
And that's exactly how they be online with that whole pronoun stuff. It's like, all right, I mean, we over here squabbling about pronouns, but meanwhile, isn't there a bigger thing going on? Just maybe, isn't there something a little bit greater than all the pronoun stuff going on?
Turf. Old-fashioned.
I love it. So that's the first clip. So that one right there, that's the one that everybody's, I won't say everyone, but it's few people are upset about. As a matter of fact, hold on, let me find this particular, before we get to the next clip. Let's look at this right here. Okay. So here's a review on The Independent. It says, just a quick headline, Ricky Gervais Supernatural review. As is all too frequent these days, the longest riff is reserved for the humiliation of trans people. And it has 2 stars out of 5. And it says in this new Netflix special, the comedian seems more comfortable with jokes that rely on a cheap shock factor rather than any emotional or creative truth, and an audience hoot and holler along with the bigotry, with all the bigotry. That's what that particular review says, and I'll link to that in the box if you want to read it. But that's what they, quote unquote, are trying to say. And let's see this clip to get a lot more substance to the jokes, which is always good.
And we still know so little about the brain. And 150 years ago, we knew nothing. It was all guesswork, right? And everything was just mental. If you weren't a white, sort of heterosexual, married Christian man, right? If you deviated too far, mental. They just went mental, like homosexuality, mental illness.
I mean, that's true. What he's saying right now is just verified fact. These ain't jokes. This is just how can I say, you're just telling history. Because at one point, if you were LGBT or whatever, you would put your particular orientation was in the DSM. That's where they have all the mental illnesses and whatnot listed for professionals to use in a clinical setting.
You were put in an asylum for life or worse, tortured. Women who fell pregnant out of wedlock, mental, asylum for life, right? And now we understand things more. We're more tolerant. I think it's going too far the other way, though, because now nothing's mental. You can't find somewhere that nothing is considered mental. Everything is a syndrome or an addiction or a preference.
That is correct. Nothing's off the table. Nothing's mental. It doesn't matter what you do. It's just normal. That's where we are nowadays. We've overcorrected. You see, if somebody's LGBT, whatever, then I feel like that's just their personal business. It shouldn't be a matter of, okay, put them in a mental hospital, unless you got some criminal action where they victimize somebody. But that's a different story. But I think what he's saying here is correct. It's an overcorrection, and now we're suffering as a consequence.
Right? I could have my legs removed, have wheels put on, identify as a pram, right?
What is a pram? I guess he's maybe in UK telling these jokes. I don't know what that is. Maybe you guys over there can let me know what it is. Maybe I'm just ignorant. I don't know all the words in the English language, but y'all let me know what that is.
And if you sound mental, you're a bigot, right? Now, that's a bit hack, that joke now, isn't it? Oh, identify as a thing then, right? It's a bit old-fashioned, right? But I'm going to leave it in to annoy people, right? Because that's the bit that'll offend people. Same as humanity. I talk about AIDS, famine, cancer, the Holocaust, rape, paedophilia. But no, the one thing you mustn't joke about is identity politics. The one thing you should never joke about is the trans issue, right?
And that's so weird because it's like I talk about everything up under the sun. So why is this one particular thing excluded from what I'm allowed to joke about? And a lot of comedians, they don't like that because it's like you're bullying them. The whole purpose of comedy is to be able to say things, anything. It could be offensive or whatever because it's comedy and that's just what it is. There shouldn't be any limits to comedy. People might not find it funny and you may not have success as a comedian, but if it's funny and you laughed, the mission accomplished.
They just want to be treated equally. I agree. That's why I include them.
There you go.
You know?
Facts. Big facts.
But they know I'm joking about all the other stuff, but they go, no, he must mean that, right? Like a joke is a window to the comedian's true soul. That's just not the case. I'll take on any view to make the joke funniest. I'll pretend to be right-wing. I'll pretend to be left-wing. I'll pretend to be clever. I'll pretend to be stupid. Whatever makes the joke funnier without prejudice. Okay, full disclosure, in real life, of course I support trans rights. I support all human rights, and trans rights are human rights, you know? Live your best life. Use your preferred.
So let's just pause right here. I mean, Ricky Gervais does not come off like some kind of conservative person. He seems pretty liberal, actually, but does it even really matter? I don't really care what he identifies as. I don't care what he identifies as politically or his orientation or anything like that. What I care about the most is, are your jokes funny? Do I enjoy your particular routine? Will I watch your special and not be bored to tears? That's all I care about. All the other stuff is irrelevant. Irrelevant. Okay, because I know I done cried laughing that some comedians might be LGBT if the jokes are funny. And I done sat there with a stone face at some really famous non-LGBT comedians because maybe the special wasn't funny, maybe the joke wasn't funny. Even guys like Dave Chappelle had laid some goose eggs and not really been funny sometimes, but I still think he's the greatest of all time. It's just, I don't care about all the preconceived notions or anything like that. Are you funny or not? Let's back up a little bit so we get the context when he finishes.
Human rights, and trans rights are human rights, you know? Live your best life. Use your preferred pronouns. Be the gender that you feel that you are. But meet me halfway, ladies. Lose the cock. That's all I'm saying.
See, Ricky Gervais, shout out to him. Hey, see, he brought it on home with a joke. And that is the whole point to comedy. Can you make it funny? Can you make uncomfortable and cringy type things funny? Can you do that? If you can, you have some success in the comedy game, my humble opinion. There's other things involved as well, of course. You know, are you professional? Are you personable, et cetera, et cetera? Because I've seen some really good comedians and never really have gone to a high level because they lack the other things you got to have to make it to a high level. But just on a basic level of being funny, all that matters is if you are funny, period. Joke about whatever you want to joke about. Just make it be funny. if you're not funny, you joke about certain things. Like somebody was saying, you shouldn't be able to make a joke if it's not funny, if it's about something controversial like LGBT issues. That doesn't make any sense. Make the joke. If you're going out and you're trying to do comedy, you're doing open mic nights and all that kind of stuff, and your jokes ain't really catching on, people not really feeling your jokes, that's just the free market speaking, saying, hey, man, we don't like your stuff. That's it. It's like if you go to a restaurant and the food is not good, all right, you can, there's no law against cooking food. There's no law against trying to be an entrepreneur. But if your food's not good, the patrons are going to go elsewhere and they're not going to give you any money for your dry, disgusting, nasty, day-old, halfway frozen, raw food. This ain't going to do it. Free market speaks. So shout out to Ricky Gervais for, trying to keep comedy alive, because as of right now, we're talking about mainstream comedy, it's kind of on life support. I'm not even going to lie to you. And it's a shame because I grew up really enjoying comedy. I watch all the comedy specials. I like the greats. I like Dave Chappelle, of course, Chris Farley, and everybody in between. I love even the old Jim Carrey movies, Ace Ventura, Fat Guy in a Little Coat, again with Chris Farley. Loved it. Eddie Murphy, Richard Pryor, some of the older stuff. I enjoy all comedy, but now comedy's under assault because so many people from a very small group of people are offended, and they have the loudest voices like they're the majority, when in reality they're the extreme minority. So keep comedy alive, but I think I'll leave that right there for now. And what said you? How do you feel about Ricky Gervais and the new special Supernatural on Netflix? Have you seen it yet? What are your thoughts about what you've seen in the clip so far? Whatever your thoughts are, please let me know in the comments below. You guys know where I'm at. I enjoy Ricky Gervais's comedy. I enjoy edgy comedy. Dark. I enjoy everything. I don't care what it's about. It could be about somebody dead, living, LGBT, straight. I don't care. Black, white, Puerto Rican, candy stripe. If it's funny, I'm going to laugh with no regrets, none whatsoever. Okay. And if you laughing at a joke in the closet, you need to get a hold of yourself and stop being so afraid to just live your best life and be who you are. It's weird because we tell people that have alternative lifestyles to use your pronouns and live your best life and do whatever you want to do. Meanwhile, people that are telling them to do that are afraid to even laugh at the joke because they don't want to be seen as somehow not going with the grain. You tell them to go against the grain and live their best life, but you are afraid to go against the grain. Not you guys who are watching. You guys are fantastic, brilliant, and unafraid. But a lot of people are afraid to even laugh in public due to the public backlash. Not me. I know not y'all as well. But whatever your thoughts are, please let me know in the comments below. And that's all I got to say for this video. If you like what you heard, please comment, rate, share, and subscribe. Peace.